What's cracking, ladies and gentlemen? 49 coming at you, another community shoutcast for the RD2L. Looks like we're just loading into best of 2 series of Team Amplified up against Team Puddin' Can't Pudge. So it'll be interesting to see. This is actually the first game I've casted for the RD2L League. For those of you who have listened to me before, was casting the OUSA Dota League Season 1 that actually has been concluded last week. So about 5 weeks of Dota finally come to an end. ODL2 will be kicking off next semester, so for students of the University of Otago and for people that live in Dunedin, you're more than welcome to join in for the ODL2. But as of right now, I'm just going to be casting a few games from side to side, so RD2L League is a great place to start. So we've got the first band, Ember Spirit, coming out from Puddin' Can't Pudge. Bit of an interesting band. Ember Spirit actually has been significantly nerfed in patch 8.81, just because of the fact that his Searing Chains, it's no longer 1.1 wonder. And the reason why Ember Spirit was so overpowered was the fact that you could choose to max out the shield with 3 points up in that early on, and with 1 point in Sleight of Fist and 1 point in Chain, still have significant ganking presence. So to use the Sleight of Fist into Searing Chain combination, you W then you Q while your W is in midair, roots them in place. It means you don't have to commit a Remnant, which is significant for your mana pool. But now with the recent nerf, so not only the Searing Chains only ensnare for 1 second at level 1, Sleight of Fist also does 33% less damage, so it's only 80 damage at level 4. The reason why this is so significant is the fact that Ember Spirit is forced to go for the RTZ build. So he has to go for Sleight of Fist into Searing Chains maxed out if he wants to have any kind of relevancy in the early stages of the game. But moving on to the other bands, we've got Ancient Apparition, the secondary king in the tri-lane. That's just because of the fact that Chilling Touch hurts so goddamn much. You have 3 ranged heroes, you pop Chilling Touch, and you're good to go. You pretty much win any tri-lane engagement, or you at least make it a trade, just because the sheer amount of damage output coming out from him. He was very slightly nerfed in 8.1 with the fact that Chilling Touch now slows by 20% attack speed instead of 15, but he is still definitely a top tier pick, especially with the Aghanim Scepter upgrade. And so for the 2 bands coming out from Team Amplified, we've got Invoker as well as Lycanthrope. 2 very standard, very strong bands. Lycanthrope was nerfed in the latest patch just with the fact that Shapeshift no longer gives bonus HP, but he still is an incredibly powerful Death Ball push hero. The reason why Lycanthrope is so dangerous to play against is if you lose a single fight, he will take racks in the mid stage of the game. He comes online much faster than any other carry hero. I mean, just with Treads and Vladimir's offering, he's good to go. He will take fights, he will take towers. And once he takes your towers, he gets that snowball going for the rest of his team as well, since Tower Gold applies to every member of your team. And so we've got Naga, Siren, and Crystal Maiden picked up by Team Amp. So very powerful support duo. Naga, Siren actually has been nerfed in the latest patch as well. And so the significance behind the nerf is the fact that Mirror Image, it does 10% less damage at max level. So the reason behind that, it's not a nerf to the Miracle Naga Siren, just because if you do get a lot of farm, since you're going to be farming up a Radiant, the damage your illusions do isn't really that significant. Your illusions just have to be alive to apply that Radiant start. But it means that Naga Siren is a 4 position hero, does take a very significant nerf, since the reason why Naga Siren is such a powerful support hero was the fact that if she got enough levels in farm, she could transition to a pseudo carry. Now as a 4 position hero, Naga Siren's more pigeonholed towards that support role. And so for the other bands coming out, we've got Luna, very powerful tri-lane hero, just because of the fact that you've got such a long engagement range with the Lucent Beam, as well as the Lunar Blessing, which not only provides bonus damage to your support heroes, but also the 1800 Night Vision, which is very significant, as well as a Tinker band. I'm assuming this must be a Respect band, since Sweet Kissing, captain for Team Amplified, and I'm assuming he could be the mid player. I actually haven't seen his team played. He plays a very strong Tinker. Visage as well as Dazzle banned out from Team Amplified, so they're banning out top tier support heroes that they don't want to play against. Clockwork picked up as the offlaner for Puddin' Can't Pudge. Mirana most likely going to be the tri-lane carry in conjunction with that Shadow Shaman. So they've got the mid lane as well as their secondary support hero left to pick up. Team Amplified, it looks like they've got their tri-lane, or they could potentially also have a mid as well as an offlaner. Naga Siren is an incredibly powerful mid hero, just because with Riptide spam, you're going to be able to get a huge amount of CS while controlling the lane and even get a little bit of harassment. And once you get your mirror images up, every time it's off cooldown, you summon your illusions, you send them to the jungle to clear out creep camps. Since if you micro it perfectly, with Riptide you could actually farm 3 camps at once with the illusions while you farm mid. Also an incredibly powerful support hero, especially with the Crystal Maiden, just because you've got the net into Frostbite to initiate, because it has such a massive range of 900. Then you follow up with the net and Frostbite to finish them off. Crystal Maiden's also an incredibly effective support hero, just because of the fact that she's very efficient in her rotations. If there's nothing happening in the lane, and if you're not going in for a gank, you can run into the jungle, Frostbite at hard creep, and use that to get your farming your EXP. Bristleback picked up, so he's going to be the offlane hero. Weaver also can function as a 1v1 or a 1v3 offlaner to some degree of success. Usually better off as a 1v1 offlaner though. Weaver, however, in the tri-lane is incredibly dangerous, just especially if you've got Naga Siren being run to 4 position, because you've got Crystal Nova to initiate, follow up the Frost Nova with the Frostbite from Crystal Maiden, as well as the Ensnare. Riptide reduces armor, Weaver throws out the Swarm, Sakushi's through, and with a Gemini attack, you completely carve through the enemy lineup. Bristleback, incredibly powerful tri-lane hero, just because it means if you do commit to go for a kill on Bristleback, it most likely will be a trade. The fact that with a single point up in his passive, he will return so many quill sprays back at the enemy, and just because he's so tanky to kill, assuming he positions himself properly, it means that if you want to kill a Bristleback, you're going to have to go for a dive, and if you dive against a Bristleback, you're going to be at least giving up one of your heroes in exchange. Leshrac picked up by PCP, very unusual. Actually, I haven't seen Leshrac picked up in an incredibly long time. Lina effectively outclasses Leshrac, just because her stun is so much easier to land, as well as the fact that she provides that immediate burst damage. Leshrac in that support position, he needs a lot of farm before his Pulse Nova becomes effective. However, he has been changed in 8-1, which could be the reason why he's been picked up. Lightning Storm actually provides I think it's a 50% snare for about a second when you cast it. It doesn't seem like much, but considering the fact that Lightning Storm is an incredibly powerful AoE spell that will hit essentially every other hero in the fight, could be quite powerful. If every few seconds you're applying a 50% snare to the entire team. I actually am slightly unwell, so I do apologize if I start coughing up a storm. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Team Amp, deliberating on their 5th ban. It's going to be mid-heroes I don't want to play up against now. So with the Clockwork as well as the Leshrac, I could be seeing something like a Puck ban. They've got a huge amount of teamfight presence coming up from them. Especially with the fact that Shadow Shaman, his Mass Serpent wards do a huge amount of damage in fights, but it forces you to stick close to them. And actually they've gone for the Shadow Fiend ban. So a bit interesting, I guess, just because of the fact that Mirana, she's incredibly powerful as a 2 and as a 3, but as a 1 position hero she tapers off incredibly quickly, just because she needs so much farm in order to hard carry. Especially when you're up against another carry hero such as Weaver, as well as the Bristleback who transitions into a pseudo DPS role, and the Naga Siren who with enough farm actually will be hitting fairly hard. You don't want Mirana's not the hero you want in that 1 position role, then you want her as a 2, so you want to be picking up another carry hero, preferably in the mid lane, so that's why it's actually an excellent Shadow Fiend ban. One thing to keep in mind, neither team have banned out Zeus, and Zeus in 8-1 is incredibly powerful. I think he's actually the next top 10 mid, just because of the fact that Arc Lightning has a 0.2 cast point. The reason why it's significant is if you play a lot of Zeus, if you've got fast fingers, you can pull off the combo for Zeus is you arc, then you bolt, then you use your ultimate. With the changing cast point, it means not only is it much more effective for you to be able to animation cancel and chase people down, since it's 0.2 instead of 0.4, you've also got the fact that in teamfights you could drop your entire combo in a second. So you Q, W, then R instantly. If your fingers are fast enough, in about a second you drop all 3 of your huge spells, as well as the fact that all 3 of those are proccing static field. Every enemy hero on it is copying enough damage to drop them to about 50% HP in the early and mid stages of the game. Essentially wins you the fight if you get that combo off at the very start of fights, just because they're so low HP that unless they have a mech, or if they're somehow able to turn around and kill you completely, you will be able to win these engagements. But they've actually picked up Undying for Team Amplified, so it looks like it's going to be a mid Naga Siren. And they picked up DP, so Death Prophet up against Naga Siren, so a massively powerful push lineup coming up from PCP. You've got the Shadow Shaman Mass Serpent wards, you've got Clockwork with the Rocket Flare, so be to globally push the map, Leshrac with his Diabolical Edict, and Death Prophet with an Exorcism. Death Prophet's one of the best 1v1 heroes in the game because a Crypt Swarm is an incredibly efficient way to control the lane. A, it does damage to the enemy hero. B, it gets you CS because it has such a massive AoE and fast projectile speed. And C, because it kills off the creeps as well, it enables you to control the lane. And with a few points up in Witchcraft, Death Prophet will be able to control runes at all times, assuming you have a ward, and assuming the enemy supports don't rotate to block off runes. And so that means that with rune control, she can constantly spam out her Crypt Swarm in order to get CS. She will be able to force the enemy hero out of lane just through sheer Q spam. And once they're driven out of lane, you pop your Exorcism, you take towers. So just going to quickly introduce the players from both teams. We've got Greb V. I do apologize if I don't pronounce these names correctly. He's over on the Death Prophet. Sheer Doctor, going to be the offlaner over in the Clockwork. Actually, a bit of a misplay coming out. You actually have to control, you have to hold control and click for wards now. You can't just drop it. So they actually wasted Observer Ward. That's a significant deal because it means that Clockwork isn't going to be having a safety ward, or it means that they won't have a ward to. They're not going to have a safety ward, so they're only going to have a ward to block rune. Boxers over in that 1 position Mirana, Viraj over in the Shadow Shaman, and we've got JW Gacy over in the Leshrac. Over for Team Amplified, we've got Doppel on the Undying, Karazic on the Crystal Maiden, NSD on the Bristleback. Looks like it's tri-lane Bristleback. Bit interesting. I actually haven't seen much tri-lane Bristlebacks, just because the issue with Bristleback is he needs a lot of levels. Craner's over on the Weaver, and Sweet Kissing over the mid Naga. He's going to be pulling off some miracle level plays. Be good to see. The reason why Bristleback isn't so effective as a tri-lane hero is you want to get Warpath as soon as possible. Bristleback without Warpath cannot gank as effectively, just because of the fact that at early stages of the game, and especially since he doesn't have any stat items, you're not going to have the mana to sustain your abilities. But with the Crystal Maiden Arcane Aura, as well as the Frost Nova and the Frostbite to lock people in place, and the zombies coming up from Dirge, this actually could be a very potent tri-lane. Looks like they're switching up their lanes for Team Amplified, so Weaver's going top. They're saying, fuck it, we'll do it live. Double damage can be picked up by boxes, so he's going to use that to get some CS over in the bottom lane. And we've actually got a pub level safety ward placed there. You actually don't want to ever place a ward here in competitive level games, just because it's the first area that support players will drop a sentry. Just because it provides it's too good ward position to be overlooked, just because it provides you ward vision, as well as being a safety ward by preventing the enemy support heroes from rotating in through the jungle and cutting you off. So that's the reason why this ward is usually always counter-warded. You usually want to place your safety ward here or there, because those are less likely to be de-warded. But I digress. Bit of action happening with the double damage room. Boxes is having a good time in getting CS. Mirana does have very low base damage, but with that double damage room is making up for it in stride. Dirge walking up, he actually has been significantly buffed in the latest patch. His Undying zombies have a much higher threshold for Deathlust, which doubles their movement and attack speed. So that means that if you're at low HP, actually Crane is getting caught up by the cogs from Clockwork. Very surprising. When you're up against a melee hero and you're playing the Clockwork, it's very easy to land a cog pushback. But when you're a ranged hero, you never want to get pushed back on the cogs, especially as a Weaver, just because you have such low mana. But while that's happening, first blood happening over the bottom lane. Crystal Man fleeing for his life, might be taken for, never mind, it's going to be killed. No, she walks it back into the arrow. But that's 2 for 1, Crystal Man's more than happy to, that's going to be 3. Shadow Shaman's very low armor, 1 more Quill Spray, and he seals the deal with that. Team Amplified taking a dominating early game position with that. Even though the Weaver has been bullied out, he actually takes a fall. You never want to eat cogs as a Weaver because your mana pool is so low. And with Sakuchi having such a long cooldown at level 1, very dangerous place for you to be when your Sakuchi's off cooldown. So Clockwork, incredibly happy with that. He knows that he's gonna have to be practicing the squads because he's gonna be carrying his team through the mid game, especially since that tri-lane is lost. They got a 5 position here in exchange for losing their 1, their 2, and their in exchange for their 1, their 4, and their 5. Very brutal trade for them. Grab V in the mid lane. He's actually getting heavily out-CS by Naga Siren. This is very rare to see. Just because the fact that Death Prophet is a ranged hero, so he can bully out Naga Siren, and then use the Crypt Swarm to harass as well. So one of the things Death Prophet players want to practice is you throw out the auto attack on the creep, and you instantly follow up the Crypt Swarm. The Sweet Kissing playing balls to the wall. He runs up. He knows what 7 base armor. The right clicks are going to tickle. And he's going to have a very fast bottle up on him. Looks like he's doing some bottle crowing. And so he's going for a very standard build. It's going to be maxing out the Riptide, followed up by the Mirror Image. And he'll be utilizing that Mirror Image to get some CS, since the Quelling Blade bonus damage propagates. Support rotation happening from PCP, so they recognize that the mid lane's in a bit of trouble, and Naga Siren is a very squishy hero and easy to gank. So they rotate in. The issue with this, however, is Leshrac, they have to open up the Shadow Shaman, and Shackle has such a low initiation range, 500 initiation range. Since you don't want to rely on the Leshrac stun, unless he's Azad. I mean, you never know. We could be seeing some amazing talent over in the RD2L. But boxes, the advantage of having Mirana as a 1 position here in the tri-lane is you can leave her alone. Mirana with a point up and leap is almost impossible to get a kill on unless she grossly misplaced and puts herself in a position. Just because the instant you see enemy heroes running towards you with malicious intent, you just turn around and leap. It instantly clears distance, so it's the reason why Windrunner hasn't been seeing much action lately. It's just because in the offlane, Mirana completely outclasses Windrunner. Windrun can be counteracted by spells such as the Venomous Gale, which just snares her through the Windrun. You could trap her into Disruption, you could shackle her. Mirana doesn't let you get in range in the first place, so if you don't get hit, they can't do anything. So that's the philosophy that Mirana abides by. She's a very slippery and elusive hero. And arrows are 5-second stun at all levels. Shackle needs significant investment before it's effective. That's the reason why we haven't been seeing much of Windrunner lately, just because she does taper off as an offlane hero, especially when you've got the alternative of the Mirana. So we're kissing on the Copper Crypt Swarm to the face, but you have to be careful of that Crypt Swarm, especially at lower levels, because it does mean that the enemy hero can get easy denies. And Sweet Kissing picks up a regeneration rune, so he's going to be continuing that spam. He wants to get a very fast, he's going to be saving up for that Radiance now. He might pick up a Ring of Aquila, but with a bottle, I think he should be good to go. It looks like the supports have rotated top. Not a big fan of this. Clockwork did get a kill over on the Weaver. So Weaver's on the back foot. Clockwork already has a level lead. He's almost going to hit level 6. If he gets level 6 before the Weaver, he's going to effectively solo kill him. Since Weaver doesn't have time lapse, Weaver actually turns around with the Sakuchi's on cooldown. Tries going for the cogs, pushes him back instead. So burns off almost all his mana. Would really like to see Stick picked up on Weaver. Very surprising Weaver picked up Boots. Weaver's one of those heroes where you don't necessarily need Boots in the early stages of the game, just because Sakuchi gives you max move speed. So usually you see Stick picked up as soon as possible, maybe something like Ring of Basilius, and then you will start building towards your Lincoln Sphere. But Cranes, he's doing what he can over the top lane, being heavily denied with that kill, but the mid lane as well as the tri lane working very well in favor of Team Amplified. They know that the advantage of having Weaver in the off lane is when the mid game kicks in, when they're forced to fight these engagements, Weaver can just play PvE, go rotate to whatever lane the enemy hero is, and not actually NSC can get a lot of damage. That Tombstone is down. They need to focus down that Tombstone. They can't engage on this. If they fight with the Tombstone, they're the Dirge Zombies. They're doing so much work already, especially with the fact that the Death Plus percentage threshold has been increased to 35% compared to, I think it was 20% before. Shia, he's got hookshot up. He actually can go for a solo kill over in Weaver if he checks his mana. Weaver's got enough for one Sakuchi, does not have time lapse. Next time he overplays, if Clockwork has enough mana for his entire gamut of abilities, if he has the hookshot, cogs, and the battery assault, he can go for a kill, wait out the Sakuchi and just smack Weaver apart. Up in the Thunderdome. Sweet kissing, CSing away. Rune being pinged out. They spotted out the support hero picking up, so Leshrac grabs it. This Leshrac hasn't been all too effective so far. It's the issue with the hero is he's incredibly squishy and his stun is so difficult to land compared to the Lina, compared to the Lion, to the next assassin. There are so many other better alternatives. The one thing that Leshrac gives you that these heroes do not is better scaling. Since Pulse Nova does a lot of damage in fights, but with the rework to, with the buff to Light Strike Array, no, not Light Strike Array, the Laguna Blade, as well as the Finger of Death, while they don't scale it well in the early and mid stages of the game, having a Laguna Blade or a Finger of Death up is essentially a free kill. Leshrac doesn't really have that solo instant killing power. He does have the Diabolic Edict, which does a lot of damage, but it relies you to stay on top of them for a long time. Tombstone dropped, AMP playing very aggressive, and PCP forced to back away. Tombstone snare coming out, arrow flies out, actually misses, turning around doing as much damage as they can to the Tombstone, but that could be the bot tower taking a fall while they're fighting up against the tower. Actually, they leashed away the siege creep, so that could be a tower. We'll look for a deny, actually misses the stun. Casey's going to be taking a fall. Crystal Nova, and one more right click from Dirge, smacks him down, takes those gummy vitamins. And we've got the Shadow Shaman rotating in. Not too sure what he was accomplishing over in the top lane. If you're not going for a kill on the Weaver, you're not accomplishing anything. And the Clockwork does so well against Weaver, especially since Weaver face tanks so many cogs. But we've got Bristleback rotating top. Looks like the tri-lane's transitioning over to the top lane. And Weaver's now been given that space to farm. He really needs to pick up a magic stick, especially if he's got face tank cogs like that. He's got time lapse up, so that get out of jail free card. The reason why Weaver is such a pain in the ass is if you don't kill him, if he's he could be at 1 HP and pop time lapse and get away. No other hero in Dota 2 has that ability to instantly turn around and escape ganks. Naga Siren actually incredibly farmed. I'm astounded at how much CS she has, about 1.7k off that Sacred Relic. Death Prophet doing as best she can, hasn't been able to control the lane all too effectively. Support's rotated in mid, but Naga Siren waited it out. Probably going to be heading back, get some bottle charges up. With the Song of the Siren as well, it's incredibly difficult to get Naga Siren since you don't want to waste level 1 Song of the Siren, but if you have to keep yourself alive, you're more than happy to do that. Mirana, very in the farm, does have 1 kill, but as well as 1 death to her name. In terms of gold and CS, 3,000 gold lead in favor of Team Amplified. That's just due to the efficiency of their heroes in CS, as well as a few kills they have, and that tower. But in terms of EXP, this is much more critical in the early stage of the game. Looks like about 700 EXP lead, so that's once again just due to the kills and the increased efficiency in CS. Looks like the hard cap has been stacked up a fair bit, so Naga Siren going to be riptiding through that. And we've got supports rotating over mid. Sweet Kissing pings them out. He knew something wasn't quite right. He saw them right as he walked through it. Leshrac wasn't able to react in time. He could have gone from Blind Fire Stun through the trees over here, so he knew there's only 1 choke point. Pops the Diabolic Edict. Mirror Image is running through for the Riptide, but Riptide unfortunately lets it lash. And Song of the Siren, Team Amplify, they're committing for this fight. Crystal Man's walking up. Shadow Shaman, not too much you can do. Turns Crystal Man into a chicken. Shackles but is cut in half by the Naga Siren with the Frostbite getting the last hit. And Bristleback in the top lane, just running roughshod. Could be taking 4 right now. Yeah, he finally does take a 4. Fortunately, looks like Soul Rip might have been on cooldown. Wasn't enough points in it. Yeah. So unable to use Soul Rip to keep himself alive. Moonlight Shadow being popped during that as well. Weave in the bottom lane going toe-to-toe against the Mirana. Actually can go for a kill right now. Mirana doesn't have enough mana to use the Starfall or the arrow. Pops the stick charger, so now he's got that double Starstorm, and Weaver backs off. The team Amplified in a very commanding lead in the game. They've taken the first tower, first blood, as well as having a lot more CS and farm on their heroes. Naga Siren is starting to farm out of control, and once Naga Siren gets that Radiance, it's so difficult to shut her down just because you can farm faster than any other hero in the game, aside from maybe a Battle Fury Anti-Mage or a Midas Battle Fury Alchemist. But the fact that every single illusion you micro him up, send it to a different camp, have them constantly leash around to the creeps being burned by the Radiant, and then spam Riptide when you've got all 4 illusions in position, gives you a lot of farm. The illusions don't even have to right click, they just have to sit there. Also means you can push out every single lane in the game just by sending your illusion there, similar to what Lone Druid does with the Spirit Bear. Only with Naga Siren, it's literally 0 risk for her. If you lose the Lone Druid Spirit Bear, it could be potentially game ending just because all the items are on the bear. With Naga Siren, it's just an illusion. If she picks up a Manta style, she will always have them up. Invisibility Rune over the Death Prophet, as well as the Exorcism up. Doesn't have a point in the silence though, that could be critical, especially when you're ganking the Weaver. But with that maxed out Witchcraft, they can choose to take the tower with the Exorcism. Weaver picks up Treads, still no Magic Stick up on him. Magic Stick is one of the best items in the game. Please pick it up in your pub games. He's going ballsy, he turns around, eats a Crypt Storm to the face, actually blows his time lapse very early. If Mirana lands an arrow, that could be a kill, but boxes, he's backing away, especially with the Swarm scanning it out. Leap dodges, just because the Swarm does actually do a fair amount of damage. Shadow Shaman over in the mid lane, he's been getting a lot of space because he needs his Master Up Wards. Actually chose to go for a second point up in his Hex, over a third point in his Ether Shock. Disagree with the skill build. You want max Ether Shock as soon as possible, just because 720 damage on 7 heroes is no joke, especially if they ignore you in fights. The issue with Shadow Shaman is while he's an incredibly powerful support hero that scales well into all stages of the game, he is incredibly greedy. Actually, Crystal Man coiled the hookshot as well as the Battery Assault and the Cogs. Karasik, you're going to be taking it forward. You're stuck in the Thunderdome, buddy. Shadow Shaman goes for a shackle, instantly breaks it. Does not want to fight in the zombies. Moonlight Shadow being popped. And that Tombstone buying so much space. That's a level 1 Exorcism committed for nothing. Unless they're forced to commit in for this mid push, Exorcism already half the duration being wasted. But I think Team Amplified can defend this. Solid Siren is up, and they're clumped up right now. Naga Siren actually could go in, but without the Tombstone, they're going to be very careful. One of the things to keep in mind with Undying as well as Naga Siren is the fact that when you use Solid Siren, you can drop Tombstone and it will summon zombies. It's a combo that Team Zenith love to do. They had Dazzle as well as Undying with the Naga Siren and the Tinker. I think it was TI2 where they used it. Start with the Siren, you use Weave, you pop March in the machines, you drop Tombstone, you rearm, March again. So you start a fight with 2-3 Marches as well as Weave and the zombies. Instantly wins you the fight if you catch out enough of their team. Just because it's so difficult to fight in that, especially with the fact that you've got the Ensnare coming up right away. You can even body block people with the mirror images. But Bristleback in the top lane, he takes a free tower. It'll be interesting to see what item he chooses to go for. Looks like he's going for the Mechanism as well as the Hood at the same time. Would have preferred to see an early mech up on him. A lot of people seem to love rushing Hood of Defiance over in Bristleback. It's not actually that good of an item. If you position your hero perfectly and utilize your Bristleback, you don't need a Hood of Defiance at all. The only reason why you should pick up a Hood of Defiance on the Bristleback is if you're turning it into a pipe. But when you're playing that one position Bristleback, you want to get the Mechanism up as soon as possible because it means that not only can you take fights, it also makes you a hell of a lot tankier, especially since he chose to go for the Arcane Boots. So this is going to be a utility Bristleback. So going to be playing that 3 position role with Weave as the 2 and the Naga Siren as the 1. You want to get the mech up because it means that your supports don't have to buy it, so they're free to go for 4 staff or Arcane Boots as soon as possible. Looks like Dirge is going for a 4 staff. Very powerful item up on him. Bit of dewarding happening for PCP, doing what they can to wrestle map vision away. But Naga Siren, he's going to be having something like a 17-18 minute Radiance. He is farmed as all hell. He's going to be picking up that Relic. He's 0 deaths to his name, 72 CS. That's almost every single CS in the wave. Should be something like 80 if you got every single one of them. But missing 8 CS, not the end of the world, especially if you're doing as well as you are. Diabolic Edict using the push down the tower, but Bristleback instantly runs in. throwing up goes, stacking him up. With the change of the warpath, that gives you a lot more movement speed now. He's TPing out. No stuns are going to try to DPS him down, but unfortunately, forced to commit the tombstone to that as well. That's a very expensive tombstone being dropped. You always want to use it almost as an ultimate ability, just because whenever the tombstone is down, you can't fight. When it's up, you can fight. So you never want to commit tombstone unless you're 100% committing to that fight. So a bit unfortunate that he doesn't have that with him, but in about 40 more seconds he'll have a cooldown. And if they continue to push the way they are, especially with Naga in the mid lane, he's going to be having a Radiance up very shortly. Good luck trying to go for these fights. Turns Bristleback into a pig, miscommunication, shackles him up. Bristleback is face tanking the entire team. He's going to be taking full away with the Witch Exorcism doing too much damage. Turn around, Frostbite over the Death Prophet, Crystal Man on the run. Where's the leap? Mirana can't go in for the kill. There's the leap. Being body blocked by the Leshrac. This is a very fast Crystal Man. Arrow flies out, hits her in the face, and that's your 360 MLG arrow coming out from boxes. Crystal Man's been face tanking them, and Weaver says, "Screw this, I'm out, guys." Goes top. Gonna be getting as far more he can. Since Weaver without Lincoln's Fair, you can't really team fight just because it does severely hinder your survivability. Looks like he's going for the early fighting build, but maxing out Swarm. Usually Weaver players only stick with 1 point in Swarm and max out Gemini attack because it gives you a lot more sustained DPS. But at the same time, maxing out Gemini attack gives you a lot more ganking presence. So Weaver, perhaps recognizing that he can't be playing PvE, especially with Naga aren't already doing the exact same thing, he has to be a bit more active. Going for the point up in the for max points up in the Swarm gives you a lot more presence in these ganks. Naga, that's a 16, 17 minute Radiance. They have not done anything to shut her down at all. Level 2 Song on the Starred up, so you can't gank her now. Every time her ultimate's off cooldown, the instant she gets ganked, all she has to do is press R, TP back home. You can't do a thing. It's the reason why Naga Siren is such a powerful hero in that mid lane. Is once you get that Radiance up, it's damn nigh impossible to be able to push you out. You thought Nature's Prophet could rat Dota. Naga Siren rat Dota's like nobody else. Scouting out Roshan, using the mirror images. Very efficient usage. One of the things you have to keep in mind with Naga Siren is, like a Tinker, you have to be as efficient as possible in everything you do. You want to split your illusions up as quickly as possible. You make sure that you're wasting as little time. But with that Radiance up, as well as Song of the Siren, and that Tombstone, Team App, they actually can take this fight. They can defend the Song of the Siren being popped. Bristleback is TPing and Tombstone being dropped. This is the combo we're talking about before. 4 heroes call up with the Song of the Siren. This is going to be an absolute massacre. Pink is instantly TPing out. Naga Siren gets a kill over the Shadow Shaman. Run up the Moonlight Shadow, fleeing, caught up in the goo. No dust, no sentries. Does pop, misses completely. Clockwork is the haste rune. He wasn't able to do a thing in that fight. He pops cogs, but he could be taking a fall. Where's the Nat coming out from Sweet Kissing, juking him out? Silence coming up from Death Prophet. Commits to whip the exorcism. I do not agree with this at all. Arrow misses. Bristleback's fairly low, but it doesn't matter with the rest of your team when he's doing that well. Death Prophet goes and balls deep. Hookshot catches over a Weaver, pushes him back. Great plays coming up from the Clockwork. Freezing field coming up from Crystal Maiden. The Clockwork runs through, breaks it with the battery assault. Bristleback going balls to the wall, actually takes the ball. Where's the Naga started an engagement? He backed off. Miscommunication coming out from Team Amp. They needed to back off at the same time, or at least have Naga Siren hanging around to be able to throw out one more Riptide. Could have been a kill. But instead, Bristleback committed. He also Sacrificial Lamb. Crystal Maiden trying to do what she can. But with a Radiance up on the Naga Siren, you're not too disappointed. Mass Open once being dropped, so it's going to be a tier 1 mid. Gonna micro those wards, buddy. There you go. Leshrac getting that last hit, so a lot more gold for him. Blade Mail picked up by the Clockwork. Very good pickup, especially considering the amount of AoE damage coming up. The only issue with this is the fact that your entire team is taking so much damage already that it's just not enough. You need a much bigger impact item. Something like a Force Staff would be very effective, just because you could trap Naga Siren, Force Staff in the cogs, Force Staff yourself out, and then run amok. You could also do it on the Weaver, force him to blow that time lapse if he wants to get out of cogs, otherwise completely negate some of these fights. Naga Siren says, thanks for the gold, starts farming up those wards. Sweet Kissing, farming up a Storm. Weaver almost has his ultimate orb. Did very well in that last engagement. Probably would be, we could be seeing a Drums next on the Naga Siren just because it makes your illusions a lot more efficient. Also can be seeing instant boots of travels. With Naga Siren, once you pick up the Radiance, you want to get as much movement speed as possible just because it increases the efficiency of your Radiance illusion. So that's why Miracle usually goes for something like Bottle, Boots, Quelling Blade, sometimes a Ring of Aquila, then to Radiance, and picks up a Boots of Travel or Drums, or even both, depending on how well you're doing. Once he has that Boots of Travels, good luck doing anything against that Naga Siren. Great micro coming out from Sweet Kissing. He's immediately splitting them up, sending one to the mid lane, one to each camp. The advantage of this is it's impossible to gank the Naga Siren just because you have so much vision. If you see the illusion and you blow your load onto that, you can't tell if it's real or not unless it's too late. So since they don't have someone like a Lion, you can instantly tell if it's an illusion or not with Mana Drain or with Hex. They've got the Hex coming out from Shadow Shaman, but considering the fact that the illusion probably can kill Shadow Shaman, it's a huge investment in mana. Not the best thing you're gonna do. Mechanism finally picked up by the Bristleback. I disagree with the Hood of Defiance pickup. He should have gone for a Mechanism early. If he had that in that last engagement, he's got to go for a solo gang over on Viraj. Viraj got way the hell out of position, turns Bristleback into a pig. Crystalman runs up with the Frost Nova, and one more Quill Spray. This is the issue with Shadow Shaman. You can't play him from behind, you have to play him from ahead. Looks like he still isn't maxing out that Ether Shock, going for maxed out Shackle. I can understand where he's coming from, but the maxed out Ether Shock is really critical in these engagements. Just because it provides so much damage. It's the issue with PCP right now. Where is your damage? Death Prophet's doing the best that she can. Looks like she's actually going for a Bloodstone. Highly disagree with this item pickup on Death Prophet, especially if you have a Yule Scepter. Usually the most efficient item build for the Death Prophet is bottle as soon as possible, pick up Phase Boots, pick up a Yule Scepter. At that point you're essentially unkillable. Once you have the Yule Scepter up, you can build towards a Shiva's Guard, a Sheepstick, you can build whatever utility item your team needs. Picking up a Bloodstone doesn't give your team any utility at all. You have the mana regeneration you need from having the Yule Scepter, you have the sustainability you need from the Yule Scepter as well. If you get jumped on these fights, you pop your Exorcism, you Yule Scepter yourself up. That gives you a 2.5 second window where your Exorcism spirits are still doing damage, but you're completely untouchable. So that gives you all the defense and offense you need. After that, you want to pick up what your team needs. So something like a Shiva's Guard will be very nice, especially with the Naga illusions. Can help you kill them off. And with the Bristleback going straight up ham on your ass, you pop the Shiva to be able to slow him down. Also drastically slows down his attack speed. Since he's a strength hero, has fairly low attack speed. So it's incredibly effective way to control him. If you pick up a Sheepstick, it lets you fight better, or even a harder Tarask. Phase Yules into harder Tarask is a very efficient build over in the DP, just because it gives you everything you need, sustainability in teamfight. BKB probably wouldn't be the best pickup in this game, just because the only real source of magic damage that you got to be worried about is the Crystal Maiden, and when it's just the Crystal Maiden, you'll find if you pop a BKB, you don't even call out in the ensnare. And the Doge zombies, they don't give a damn, they'll be beating through you anyway. Nasal Goo is physical, so it goes through that BKB. Weaver's going to be picking up that Ultimate Orb, so once he has that Lincoln Sphere, probably going to be building towards the Desolator. But we see the net worth right now, the Tricore of Team Amplified farming so much harder than the Tricore over on PCP. Death Prophet, the only one keeping on track, but with that greedy Bloodstone build, not going to be all too effective in these fights. Mirana, incredibly underfarmed. Just because the tri-lane was lost and she didn't get that much CS as well. Mirana is a hero that you have to get incredibly far ahead if you want to play that one position role, just because she gets out-carried by pretty much every other carry in the game. Unless you're significantly ahead, it's difficult to play as a 1, whereas as a secondary DPSer, as a 2 position or as a 3 position, she excels because that means that you've got one hero who's already up in the face doing damage, and you got Mirana in the back lines plinking away. If you pick up something like a Maelstrom, does a lot more damage. So it looks like another quick pause coming out from Team Amplified as they're having a few issues with lag. Was a bit of an issue with Steam actually going down. In New Zealand, there's the Dota 2 Crackdown, Community Crackdown #1 being run by the boys over at Aspect of Gaming. It's a completely online tournament, so the fact that the servers went down was critical. I think there was 2 or 3 games that have to be remade now, just because they were the results were inconclusive. And so Weaver, that Lincoln Sphere, he's going to be an absolute pain in the ass in these fights. Once he picks it up, it's going to be different. He can just go straight up. He can run up on Leshrac. Leshrac can't do anything at all. Just because unless if he is able to land that stun, he can't do anything against Weaver. But with Weaver, with Sakuchi, it's going to be incredibly difficult to be able to predict that stun. Just runs right through Leshrac, waits for the stun to be blown, and then just right-clicks him down, time-lapses out. But all in all, in terms of the state of the game, just going to do a quick golden EXP check. About 6,000 gold lead in favor of Team Amplified. And in terms of EXP, about 1,000. Actually, very slight EXP lead, so the kills from both teams are keeping it fairly even, but the gold lead is starting to come into play now, just because you've got a Shadow Shaman who's just picked up his Arcane Boots, no maxed out Ether Shot from him, level 3 Shackle, so he's doing what he can. Death Prophet going for the very greedy Bloodstone build. I don't mean to rag on you, buddy, but you gotta pick up more efficient items for your team. When you have Witchcraft and the Yule Scepter, having Phase Boots pretty much gives you a free haste rune on demand. You want to capitalize that. It could just be a cheeky point booster, maybe he could be going towards a Lincoln Sphere, but even then, once again, that's another terrible item. You want to pick up items that provide immediate utility, so for the Death Prophet, you want to stay alive for as long as possible, in fights, just so you can throw out more Crypt Swarms, so you can get off another Silence, and so your Exorcism can continue to do work. Since your Exorcism for the first 30 minutes will out DPS every other physical DPS carry in the game. It's just after that 30-minute mark that you start to taper off, especially if you utilize your Exorcism Ghost correctly. What you want to do is, it's similar to the carrier units in StarCraft 2, every time they fly out, they launch an attack, and they fly back to you before they can launch another attack, so you want to get as close to the enemy hero as possible, preferably right on top of them, so that's why Phase Boots is so efficient, just because it means that the spirits have very slow travel time. They go right back from you to the enemy hero again and again, so it drastically increases their DPS. So that's why another reason why Phase Boots is very effective. You Yule Scepter themselves up. If you catch a hero out, pop Witchcraft, run them with phase through them, and then you right click them, since the Exorcism Spirits will prioritize the target that you attack click. It's one of the things you can do with DP. If someone's chasing you, you right click them once, and then you immediately back away. Your spirits will all focus them down while you're running away. There's tips and tricks to do with the Death Prophet, just because you have to be as efficient as possible with the Exorcism. Since otherwise, since Death Prophet's a timing push hero, if you don't take advantage of the first 30 minutes of the game, if you don't take out all their tier 1s, all their tier 2s, try to break their tier 3, you're going to taper off incredibly quickly, unless you're obscenely farmed. Not too sure how much longer this pause is taking, hopefully it should be resolved soon. The advantage of having that Shadow Shaman, though, is if they do win a fight, they've got such massive push power coming up from PCP, that Naga Siren pretty much has to have buyback up at all times. He's got enough for the Boots of Travel, just holding on to a gold right now, probably going to be going Boots of Travel into the Mantis Style. Once you have Mantis Style up on Naga Siren, you will always have illusions of the map, so that means you will constantly have split push presence. You pop your mirror image, you send them out. When your mirror image is on cooldown, then you pop your Manta. You don't want to pop both at the same time, unless you're going for an all-in YOLO push, or if you're fighting. Because since if you have one of them off cooldown, it means that if for whatever reason you do happen to fight, you at least have your illusions to do some extra damage. Because Naga Siren is heavily dependent on their illusions. Although with the recent nerf, they do a lot less damage now, so only 35% instead of 45%. But when you have the damage coming up from Riptide as well as the Radiance, it's not really that significant of a nerf. It's mostly a nerf to a 4-position Naga, since a 1-position Naga is going to have a Radiance, and with Radiance you don't really care how much damage your illusions are doing, you just want them to stay alive, and maybe in the ultra late stages of the game, once you pick up the Mad Style, that's when they really start to head hard, or if you pick up something like the Diffusal Blade. So it looks like PCP Grep V, just talking about the organization for the RD2L. Of course, it wouldn't be a Reddit game without someone saying stray accounts. So for those of you who are unable to place my accent, I'm a Kiwi from New Zealand, over at the University of Otago in Dunedin. So complete other end of the world. But hopefully this should be resolved fairly shortly. It's always a drag when you're sitting around in pause waiting for the game to resume. Looks like they're reconnecting, so things should be good to go. Yeah, Crystal Man's just reconnected, so hopefully we should be resuming. What PCP need to do right now is they need to go in for smoke ganks. They need to try to pick off Naga Siren, since AMP, without the Naga Siren, they can't fight. They need the Song of the Siren to set up the Tombstone. They need to buy time for the Weaver to run through. Since Weaver's an attritional hero, he relies on, the longer the fight gets, the more damage he does, because he doesn't have that huge amount of burst damage from the get-go, like a lot of other carries, such as the Wraithkey and the Chaos Knight. They can run up, get a crit, and do a massive amount of damage. Weaver just relies on constantly nipping at your heels, running over your backline, and killing off your support heroes. Shadow Shaman is food to Bristleback and the Weaver, just because of the fact he's got very low armor, very low movement speed, and low HP. Leshrac can't do a thing except for curl into a ball and cry, try not to cry too hard, and then clench his anus, because Weaver will run right through you. You can't do anything with the Q, just because it's so easy for the Weaver to predict it and to dodge it, unless if the Leshrac gets lucky, he's able to land that. Weaver could just run right through him and kill him, so very surprised they did choose to pick up that Leshrac, considering Weaver was picked up very early. Would have preferred to see, if they wanted to go for a pushing strat, Lion would have been a lot, or Lion or Lena would have been a lot better. Just because LSA is much easier to land than the Q coming out, and Lion also has the mana burn, so the reason why Lion's effective against illusion-based heroes is you've got two abilities to instantly kill illusions. Mana burn instantly kills an illusion, so you use that to kill one, throw out the impale, hex the other one, so you either get the real one or you burn off the illusion, and then with the impale doing disproportionate damage on the other illusion, you know which one's real, so you can instantly finger him down. Lena could clear out the entire, all illusions at once just with her combo. She actually contributes a fair amount of damage in fights, just because her LSA as well as her Dragon Slave have something like an 8-second cooldown, so you're able to drop them consistently. So it looks like we should be good to go. No more internet delays. A thing you have to keep in mind with PCP's lineup is since they have Mass Serpent Wards, if they do win a fight, or actually if they smoke in the Roshan, they can take a free Roshan, but you have to kill Naga Siren. Since when Naga Siren's up, you can't do Roshan, just because with the Song of the Siren, if you catch him out in the pit, that's a free team wipe you're handing over to the enemy team. So they have to go in for a smoke gank right now, try to pick off the Naga Siren, or if for whatever reason you can't kill the Naga Siren, which is fair enough since she does have the Song of the Siren, you want to instead pick off the support heroes, or even the Bristleback. Just do as much damage as you can. You need to go for picks and try to take towers off the basis of those picks. Since right now, if you continue to farm and do what you're doing, not only are you going to get out-farmed by the Naga Siren on her own, you're not going to win the late game. Whenever you pick up the team that picks up a Death Prophet, you're on a clock for 30 minutes. For the first 30 to 35 minutes, you have to win the game then. Otherwise, you could taper off incredibly quickly. It's a similar kind of idea with the Bristleback, with the Undying, sorry. Just because Tombstone has become a lot more ineffective, turns him to a pit chicken, shackles him, stun comes out as well as the silence. But Song of the Siren catches out 4, clumped up. We got TP support coming in from the Weaver. Tombstone shot, Flash Column says less dance partner. Mass Serpent Ward doesn't catch anybody. Moonlight Shadow drop. West the Sentry Ward, Sentry's been dropped. Dust has been popped. Cox traps as weak as he could be taking 4. They kill the Naga Siren. Great hook shot coming in from Shia. He kills 2. X is doing so much work on these fights. Clockwork's gonna be taking a 4, but they trade 3 for 4, killing off the Naga Siren. Pretty good fight coming off from PCP, all things considered. But NSD as well as the Weaver, they're on the hunt. It's the power of the exorcism in that fight that could have been gone so much worse for PCP, but they were able to burst down the Naga Siren. It's the issue with Naga Siren as a one position hero. Until she picks up a lot more items, she is fairly squishy, so if you do identify the right one, you just focus her down. But even then, you saw how much damage she was able to output in that fight. Pipe of Insight picked up by the Bristleback, so he's got a lot more sustainability as well as utility in these fights. The issue that I have with Pipe of Insight though is you have to pop it before the enemy team throws out their ability, so it's an item that you use when you control the tempo or when you're going to initiate. Since otherwise, if the enemy team, once they throw out their spells and you pop Pipe, it does nothing. It's like a condom, you have to put it on before things get heavy. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything at all. Once they blow their load, the condom does nothing, and so you gotta put it on first, then you do everything, whereas in mech, it's reactive. Once you take damage, you can pop mech at any time. It's the reason why you want to rush mech before the pipe. But already, we've got some split push, and Leshrac copping so much damage from that. That was one Riptide, as well as a few seconds of being alive with a Radiance burn. So Naga Siren doing her thing, split pushing like crazy. Actually, it looks like we've got one of my mates from over in the New Zealand tournament. Embarrassing performance by him, could actually be knocked out, so I'll have to double check with him, see what's happening. But Shadow Shaman still level 8. The lack of levels in the Shadow Shaman is really hurting them. If they had level 2 Mass Serpent Wards, the fight could have gone so much better for PCP, just because those Serpent Wards hurt like hell, especially when you consider the fact that the entire team was clumped up there. They gave them 4 or 5 seconds, the Wards just beating on people. The wards do a small amount of splash damage as well, so having more points up in the wards does help a lot. Death Prophet continuing to go in with the Bloodstone. Really disagree with his item build, but what can you do? He was able to do a lot of work in that fight, like catching out 3 with the Silence, as well as the power of that Crypt Swarm every 4 seconds. Your entire team can potentially copying 300 damage. It's the reason why Death Prophet's so powerful in the early stages of the game. But all in all, Amplified were able to defend that tower, and that could be significant the later the game goes. So Illusions continues split push, create space for the rest of his team to farm. Naga Siren farming like crazy, already 2.5k up on him. Could be choosing to go for a harder Tarask if he wants to fight now, just because with the heart, Naga Siren, it's pretty much, you can't dislodge him in these fights, he just walks it. You've got the Bristleback with the pipe as well as the mech. You've got Weaver with time-lapse and the Lincoln Sphere. Against a triple tanky Tricore with the Radiance Burn as well as the damage coming up from Quills and Gemini attack. There's only so much you could do. Or you could go for the more conventional Miracle build, which is to pick up the Manta Style, just because it means that you will always have map presence through the Illusions being a split push around and cause a lot of ruckus. Mirana copying so much damage from that. One more Illusions bomb when he's able to pick up Regeneration. Looks like he's going for what looks like a Maelstrom. Okay, so great pickup from the Mirana. Maelstrom is probably one of the best DPS items in the game for a hero like a Mirana. That's because while you don't hit very hard, you will be getting a lot of attacks off in these fights because you're very slippery. You've got 600 range and you've got the leap to reposition yourself. So having the Maelstrom constantly throw out AoE damage is incredibly effective, as well as the fact that it will also help you clear out those illusions a little bit faster and helps you split push a bit better. Otherwise, Desolator is usually preferred pickup on the Mirana, because it gives her what she lacks, which is just that right-clicking power. So Weaver with Lincoln Sphere, he's having an absolute ball of a time. It's going to be incredibly difficult to kill him in these fights, unless he gets called out by that silence. The Dash Prophet has to be absolutely on point. But he'll probably be going towards that Desolator. That just gives you the most efficient form of DPS in the Weaver. Since Weaver with the Germinate attack, you don't necessarily have to build attack speed. All you really have to do in the early to mid stage of the game is build damage. Maybe later on you can pick up something like a Butterfly if you really want to. But usually Desolator to MKB or even a crit after that point is the preferred build up for the Weaver. Illusions running around, doing what they can with that split push, provide farm in so many different places. Farming the enemy jungle as well. I'm really liking this coming up from the Naga Siren. It's depriving the enemy team of farm. Similar to StarCraft 2, Dota 2 is a game of economics. If you deprive the enemy team of gold, you will win just because of the fact you'll have more items than they will. So there are essentially 3 resources in Dota 2. You've got gold as well as EXP, which are the 2 obvious ones. And then you have the resource of time, which is a lot more subtle. And by time I mean things like big cooldowns, so your ultimates and the Mass Serpent Wards. Every time you use the Mass Serpent Wards, you want to get a kill, a tower, or Roshan. If you're not getting either of those, that's a huge cooldown being blown. So they're going to use the Mass Serpent Wands, commit for Roshan. Leshrac copy a lot of damage. That's the issue though. Death Prophet really needs to be tanking this. Close range arrow coming out from Boxus, whilst a shackle. They really want to give as little warning as possible. Leshrac actually could be taking a fall. Roshan stomping up small. He actually kills him. Bit embarrassing coming up with the Leshrac. But Mirana picks up the Aegis the Immortal. It looks like Viraj actually body blocked himself in with his own Mass Serpent Wands. Very embarrassing play. He's forced to TP himself back out. But while that's happening, Naga Siren, Illusion, split pushing through, almost instantly kills off the wave. So that Tattoo bottom, slowly being chipped down. Weaver hanging around because he knows there's nothing he can do to kill him off. Death Prophet trying to be cheeky, used the Yule Scepter before the Swarm hit. But unfortunately, Yule Scepter does have the added benefit of purging off most debuffs, but the Beetle from Swarm isn't one of them. TP rotation, top of the Death Prophet, Bristleback leading the charge, and now he's backing off. Crystal Maiden's the only one there, aside from Doppel, the Undying with a double damage, so that's one nasty, nasty zombie. Shia does have the hook shot, he actually misses the hook shot, Ram is coming off from him, turns around, throws at the goo, caught up in the silence, he can use the Yule Scepter to purge off the goo stacks if it gets too many. Tombstone drops, they're committing for this, Mirana actually kills off Weaver over in the bottom lane, with the Tombstone, Viraj's gonna be taking a fall. You can't get too close to that. Nasal doing so much work. Casey gonna be taking fall as well. Cogs dropped a bit too late. Pushes back Doppel. Moonlight Shadow dropped far too late as well. Zombie continue to provide vision of where they are. And Naga Siren, sweet kissing. AFK farming, saying, team, you do your thing. I'm gonna finish my heart to Taras. Caught up in the silence, pops the pipe. Pipe is gonna break with one more nuke flying out. Bristleback actually has to be careful. Caught up in the Cogs as well as the barrier stop. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Blade Mail's popped as well as copying a lot of damage. He might actually turn around and trade this. Pushes him back. But she is caught up in the freezing field as well as the frostbite. Huge players coming up from the Crystal Maiden. Instant silence breaks it up though. Arrow comes in from Boxes doing what he can, but no mana up on him. He just barely has enough mana for a leap. Does he have enough mana for a leap? Caught in the frostbite. Never mind. He's going to be feeding. Leap was on cooldown. Exorcism has been committed. Amplify have to back the hell away right now. They can't stick around like this, especially with the Exorcism, but they turn around for one more kill. Sweet Kissing runs in late to the fray, eats an arrow in the face, as well as a lightning proc. He's not a happy chappy. Crystal Man fleeing for his life, Bristleback caught him, Yule Scepter, and PCP turning it around against all odds. Mechanism popped incredibly late, but top tower falls in exchange for that. How the hell is he still alive? Arrow almost hits. Creep tanks the grenade for you, leaves him with a Starstorm. Bristleback tanking like a champ. Fleeing for his life with that plate mail with the pipe of inside the mech, but he finally dies. That cash pinata whacked open by PCP grab. So 2.8k up on him. He really needs a sheepstick if he wants to deal with that Bristleback. So much work being done by him, and Naga Siren walked in at the wrong time, didn't use the song, just walked right into an arrow and it completely exploded. Looks like he's going for that Heart of Tarask. I think he has it now. Yeah, he's got enough gold to finish it off. So that means that he's ready to fight, just because his illusions are incredibly tanky. He's incredibly tanky. Now when he goes for Manta style, he can pretty much solo kill every hero in the map, just with the illusions running them down. Ancient stacking happening by Doge, loving it. As a support player, whenever nothing's happening on the map, if you're not helping your carry in any way by babysitting the lane, going for kills, stacking or pulling, you need to stack Ancients. Create as much gold for your teammates as you can. Every stack of Ancients is essentially equivalent to a wave's worth of creeps over in any of the lanes. So constantly stacking up the ancient creeps gives you pretty much a reserve of golden EXP. Can be critical for your support heroes as well, just because it helps them catch up and farm. Viraj copying a lot of tower hits. He's going to be careful of that. He's very low HP right now. Tombstone dropped, but with no follow-up, so the Tombstone's going to be fed. That's a lot of gold every time the Tombstone dies, so you have to keep that in mind. But they're able to get that tower in exchange for popping the Mass Serpent Wards. Level 2 Mass Serpent Wards up, so Shadow Shaman recovering. He's almost got his Blink Dagger. Once he picks up his Blink Dagger, he could go in for that Blink Shackle Hex initiation. So Shadow Shaman does become significantly more effective as a hero once he has that Blink Dagger. Weaver just hoarding his gold for now. Not too short to pick up. Still doesn't have a Magic Stick. For future, please pick up a Magic Stick on every single goddamn hero. It gives you so much utility in these fights, especially when you've got heroes such as the Death Prophet, who will be constantly throwing things out. The Leshrac, heroes with low cooldown abilities. You're going to be building up a lot of charges, and those charges can mean the difference between life and death. Can also give you some top 10 plays if you fake him out. Molnir picked up by Mirana, so it gives you a lot of team more damage in these team fights, because you can apply the static buff to the Clockwork or to yourself if you're taking damage, and that will help you clear out the illusions. Static Storm is probably one of the most underrated buffs in the game. It seems very subtle, but you actually cop a lot of damage every time it does proc. And something like 200 to up to 3 heroes every time the lightning procs, so you really got to be careful, especially with the illusions. Bristleback eats an arrow to the face. The Crystal Mains in the background, silent up on him. Molnir being popped over on the Mirana, doing as much damage as possible. But they just don't have enough damage. Bristleback is too damn tanky. Looks like he's going for the Assault Cuirass. So that plate mail doing so much work, keeping him alive in these engagements. Would like to see a Vladimir's Offering picked up by him as well, just because it stacks with the Assault Cuirass, so having plus 10 armor for every single member of your team heavily mitigates the amount of physical DPS you're taking, as well as the fact that it propagates over to the Naga Siren Illusion, so the Naga Siren Illusions can become a lot tankier than physical DPS. So with the Heart of Tarask up on the Naga Siren, she's ready to fight. Illusions almost scouted out the Leshrac. He was very lucky there. If they scouted him out, could be copping a lot of unneeded damage, just because he can't kill the Naga Siren Illusions right now. Roshan on cooldown for about what looks like 8 minutes. And they're pinging out the Ancient Stacks. They know that's up, so the supports really should be to leech some EXP. Because having level 2, level 3 ults up on your support heroes is critical, especially on a hero like Undying. Just because the soul rate actually looks like he didn't max out the decay, so very interesting build coming out from Undying. The traditional build for Undying is you max out Tombstone, get 2 points up in soul rip, then you max out decay. Because until later stages of the game, you're not going to have enough units for a max level soul rip. And decay is a lot more useful. Bristleback actually copying a lot of damage in that. But Weaver more than happy to take the gold wherever he can. That's a Desolator up on him, so he's going to be hitting like an absolute monster truck. He can instantly run through and kill off the Shadow Shaman as quickly as possible. But PCP, they're grouping up for a push. They know that if they want to fight and catch Ant without buyback, they can get a land in racks just because they had sheer pushing power coming up from them. Actually, Weaver playing it very safe, goes for a BKB. It means that if he does get called out and the silence coming out from the Death Prophet, he can use the BKB to spell that so he won't die. Bit strange that he did go for the BKB, would have preferred the Desolator just because with the Lincoln Sphere and with the time lapse, the way you play Weaver is you wait until enemies have blown their important CC spells to begin with, and then you run around and nip at their heals and kill off the support heroes. You run through the enemy hero and hit them from behind so they're forced to turn around. That means that if they are going to use a spell such as the Hex, you can time-lapse yourself back out. So the Weaver player, perhaps a little bit confident in his abilities in the fight, so he picked up the BKB instead. Don't get me wrong, it's still an excellent pickup on the Weaver, just because it means that he's actually can't be stopped in these fights. It's 10 seconds of absolute Rambo mode. It's just that BKB on the Weaver is suboptimal. You only want to get it if you absolutely have to, and that's if they have a huge amount of AoE damage just killing you in these fights, or if they have a way to lock you down and consistently blow you up through the Lincolns. Since Lincoln Sphere is usually enough defense. But nonetheless, they're playing it safe, Team Amplified, and for good reason. They know the later the game goes, the more it swings into their favor. Death Prophet's starting to taper off. Clockwork, he's powerful, but at the later stages of the game, it's a lot easier to shrug him off and just sit there and fight him 1v1 in the Thunderdome. Mirana can't outcarry Naga, Siren, Bristleback, and the Weaver. So they know that all they have to do is drag the game out, wait for a PCP to get greedy, to get sloppy, go in for one fight, win that fight, and just end the game from there. Would really like, and you see in terms of map vision, Team Amplified, they completely control the map. There's no wards up from the dire side, aside from over the mid and the jungle, but these are aggressive wards. You need defensive wards right now when you're playing from behind. I can understand what they're doing, but they need to ward off the Ancients. The Ancients is where they're finding so much farm. And so almost level 3 Warpath off from Bristleback. With the recent change, Warpath actually scales a lot better if you're able to get those stacks off very quickly. But as a Bristleback, if you have enough mana to use your Goo as well as your Quill Spray, it's very easy to get the stacks up. Makes you move oh so quickly. Still a bit surprised he chose to go for the Arcane Boots, but when you build the pipe as well as the mech, you need Arcane Boots to sustain it, so Bristleback, recognizing he's going to be the utility player for his team. So he takes one for the rest of his team. Naga Siren, still continuing to farm. Wants that Manta style now before you commit into any more engagements. Not using the illusions to split push, since he knows that the enemy team, they're huddling, they're playing scared, grouping up as 5, so he doesn't even really need to split push, he just wants to farm. He knows that the game is in his favor. Medallion of Courage picked up by the Shadow Shaman, so Blink as well as Medallion of Courage. Good pickup by him, but I would have preferred the Ghost Scepter just because he's going to die in these fights. 800 HP. If Weaver looks at you the wrong way, you're going to explode. If Bristleback runs up to you, he's going to goo you, beat you down like the hoodie chav he is. Going up the Mirana, arrow actually flies out. Looks like caught out the Weaver. Turns Bristleback into a pig, so Shadow Shaman, not too afraid. Heck, shackles him, but it's from behind. Turn around, hit him from the front. You're copying so much damage right now. 4 heroes from PCP, copying a lot of hero damage from that Bristleback. And with the armor he has from the Assault Cuirass, as well as the Pipe of Insight and the Bristleback passive, he is so damn hard to bring down. You have to hit him in the face.
Under attack.
And looks like now he's going for Heart of Terras. That's just rude coming out from the Bristleback. He could go for the Rod of Aoi, I suppose. But it's not really an item, it's more of a fuck you. Anytime you can build a Rod of Aoi, you can just build a Sheep Stick instead. Or a 4-staff that does a lot more work instead, so Rod of Aoi, the only hero that's saying that's actually good on is the Outlaw Destroyer, and that's just because it gives him everything he needs. Gives him HP, gives him a snare so he can hit people, and gives him a lot more damage that Sandy's Eclipse. On every other hero, it's pretty much a waste of gold, unless if you're so far ahead it just doesn't matter. And with the way the gold graph is looking, that could be the case. We've got a 10,000 gold lead in favor of Team Amplified, and 3,000 EXP lead. Leshrac picks up a Blink Dagger, which usually I'm a fan of, but the issue with this is he blinks in and then he instantly dies. And Team Amplified say, thanks for the gold, gift wrapped them for us. The issue with Leshrac Blink Dagger is you have to A, be a very good Leshrac in the Lando sense consistently, and B, have enough damage to kill the enemy hero before they can turn around and retaliate. Because if he goes in, say on the Bristleback right now, does his entire combo, Bristleback turns around, goes him in the face, and starts hitting him and says, okay, thanks. Now what? The advantage is you do have that pick-off power since Shadow Shaman initiates, but it's not initiation power that you need right now, you just need sustainability. They're actually going to break smoke, never mind to the Moonlight Shadow. Crystal Maiden caught behind enemy lines, she instantly explodes. Someone had to be the sacrificial lamb. Hookshot catches out the Weaver, turns around, catches out the Undying. Undying force-stomps himself out. Great recognition coming out from him. Mass 7 once dropped an NSC, copying so much damage. Shadow Shaman shackling, and they're able to turn this around. 3-0. Great plays coming out from PCP. Even though they're 10k gold behind, they ain't afraid of no ghost. They're going to take a free Roshan kill at the back of that. The advantage of Medallion of Courage is it helps you bring down Roshan that much faster. Roshan's turned to a chicken. And KFC going for PCP. Mirana picks up the Aegis the Immortal once again. Naga Siren Illusion's coming in. Trying to do some KYXY Illusion Aegis denies. But Weaver split pushing in the top lane while that's happening. And Sweet Kissing, he wasn't even there. He's just going to continue to farm. Really needs to pick up that Manta Style. Just going to continue to apply pressure to the rest of the map. Because Manta Style not only gives you 2 extra illusions, it gives you that movement speed and the attack speed, which is so critical. Then he can probably pick up a Diffusal Blade, and once you have Manta and the Diffusal Blade, you can pretty much win the game on your own. Purge up the Naga Star, the Death Prophet, throw up a net, wait for her to blow her Yules with the Purge, throw the net when she drops down, surround her and just cut her in half. Undying, casual plate mail on him. I guess you could build towards a Shiva's Guard later on. Would prefer actually to see a Vladimir's Offering or a Heaven's Halberd up on him, just to give you a lot more sustainability. And you've got one enemy carry that does right-click damage, that's Mirana. You buy a Heaven's Halberd, that means the Mirana is forced to go for a BKB. Manta Style no longer purges off the disarm. And every time Mirana has to go BKB, she cries a little inside. So it severely cuts into a DPS item, since she knows that she has to have a 1-item advantage if she wants to carry to begin with. So forcing her to expend a slot on a defensive item, always a good thing to do. But at the same time, Mirana with the BKB can stand tall in these fights. The only thing that can really kill her
is the ensnare, but you have to keep in mind when you build a BKB against the Naga and you're the only hero, you gotta watch out when you pop it. Because if the Song and the Siren is still up, the instant you pop BKB, they pop Song and suddenly it's a 1v5. And it makes the game that much more difficult. Sheepstick picked up by the Death Prophet. Really liking this item. It gives them the lockdown they need just to remove Bristleback from these fights. They don't necessarily have to kill him. They just have to get rid of him. So turn him into a pig. Turn around, kill the rest of the team, then turn back around and finish off the Bristleback. Similar to Wraith King, you don't really want to focus him first because he's such a pain in the ass to bring down, and it's just not worth it because you're going to be taking so much damage. What you then want to do is just remove him from these fights, prevent him from being a knockdown your supports, do as much damage as you can on the enemy team, and then try to make it a 1v5. Since 1v5, no, it's very difficult for a Bristleback to win unless you happen to grossly overextend or turn around and hit his back the entire time. Moonlight Shadow being dropped, so they're going in for a gank. It's one of the advantages of having Mirana on your team. Not only do you have the Smoke of Deceit, you also have that Moonlight Shadow. So you've got that global ganking presence. They might actually catch out the Naga Siren. Naga Siren does have Song though, and he's got his match style up. It's been popped. He's got forced to pop that Naga Siren. Catches out 5. This is going to be disastrous if they decide to commit to this. Tombstone drop. Flash Column pop. Turning around, grouping up on Grepty. Throws out the ensnare. Baits out the Yule Scepter. Turning around. Casey taking so much damage just from the AoE. Now, Death Prophet caught up in his mass symbol doing so much damage. Sheila returning a lot of damage to that Blade Mill. MSD running through him. Boxers going to get cut in half with the Weaver jamming attack. Finishing him off. Actually able to heal up with the magic stick. Sweet kissing us. Barely keeps himself alive and pops a regeneration rune. That's just bad luck for the dire side. Bristleback smacks down the Mirana. And that would be game. Death Prophet's up very quickly. But you've got 7 Naga Siren illusions coming at you. You've got 2 from the Mana Style, 3 from the image, as well as 1, never mind, 6 Naga Sirens running at you. Watch out for your base, where your tower's going. 10 seconds while the mirror image is up. Split pushing, so continuing a micro. Amazing plays coming up from the Naga Siren. Being as efficient as possible. Catches out the Death Prophet. Yule Scepter still on cooldown. Pops the Yule Scepter, burns it off. There's no defusal blades. Going to have to rely on the Goose Stacks to bring it down. Turns Sweet Kissy into a pig. Or is that a chicken? Never mind, it's a chicken. Arrow flies out, catches that Weave in the face. Song of the Siren popped defensively. Or are they going to continue to commit to this? They're backing off. They're blowing too many of their big team fight spells. They don't want to commit to this. They know they're going to wipe for free. They don't want to give away anything for free. And they back away. And Bristleback, he's almost got his heart. Hookshot flies out, whoops. Naga Siren illusions. They cop their Ether Shock, but it just tickles them. And that Riptide's going to be coming out very shortly. There you go. Creep Wave instantly melts. Ether Shock doing what he can. But Shadow Shaman, he's losing 40% of his HP every time he goes toe-to-toe with those illusions. Wait till this is a Fusel Blade. Arrow flies out once again. Thought Weaver's going to face tank that, but he was too far away. Gem up on the Naga Siren. So it gives him complete map vision since the illusions from Mantis Style and Mirror Image, they inherit the Gem and True Sight True Vision, so you can use them to de-ward all around the map, and considering how effective Sweet Kissing's micro has been, he can pretty much single-handedly dominate the map right now. Picks up Invisibility Rune, uses Mirror Image. Mantis Style's going to be off cooldown 10 more seconds, so once the illusions die from Mirror Image, he can pop Mantis Style to continue to keep that presence up. And Undying, being underrated in these fights, but he's been doing a lot of work. Every time he throws out Decay, he's decreasing the EHP of the enemy team, and with the Flesh Golem, he amplifies a huge amount of damage. Especially when you consider how much AoE damage is coming out with the Bristleback, Naga Siren's Riptide, as well as the Radiant Burn. A very unusual defensive ward placed there by Leshrac. There you go, that's a bit more conventional. Leap out from the Mirana. Being afraid of the 3 position Bristleback. Mirana needs a lot more gold if she wants to be effective in these engagements. With that Molnir up, it'll be interesting to see what she chooses to go for next. We could be seeing something like a Butterfly or a Mantis Style. But it's just the issue with Mirana is she just needs so much farm to be effective. Probably even could be seeing a crit, although the disadvantage of going crit as well as Molnir is Molnir will override every other PRD ability in the game. With the exception of, I think, Void's Time Lock goes through. Hookshot flies out. Actually whiffs. Looks like Shia just used that to get some farm. Aghanim Scepter up on him, so he's got that Batman utility. 12 seconds, he can hook in, punch people in the face. pop up the cogs. But he really needs that 4-star. I mean, you saw in that last engagement, Undying 4-star himself away, Clockwork stuck, he's forced to break his cogs then. That really hinders his ability in these fights. Clockwork needs to either isolate, or needs to try to get the cog bounce on as many heroes as possible, to try to effectively control their HP and mana. But in this stage of the game, he really needs to hookshot in, trap the Bristleback, 4-star himself out, leave Bristleback to stew over in the Nordy corner. And that means they don't have to deal with the Bristleback throwing goo everywhere and smacking people in the face. Focus fire down the Naga Siren, then the Weaver, then turn around and kill off the Bristleback. Smoke gang coming up from Team Amplified. They know the instant the smoke breaks with the Naga Siren, all you have to do is press R. It's a 60-second cooldown on the Song of the Siren, so you don't care if you use it for 1 kill, as long as you get that kill, that is. And he's holding on to his illusions, since he knows that if there's a fight, he wants as many illusions as possible. The instant he gets to the Fusel Blade, it's game over. You can't fight against Naga Siren with the Fusel Blade. Blink dodge out from Leshrac, great reflexes, was questioning the Blink Dagger pickup, but he's making it work. Death Prophet with the boosted turtle, defending what they can. NST turn to a pick, hookshot. Where's the cogs? Cogs but forced up just in time. Great play coming up from the Crystal Man, and Exorcism being popped. Looks like PCP are committing for this. Team Amplified, all we have to do is back the hell away right now, wait for the Exorcism to wear off, then say, let's dance. Your ultimate's down, ours are all up. So PCP, the pressure is on them. They have to go in for initiation right now. Yule Scepter up on the Bristleback. Once again, he's going to be the one that they also have the focus fire. Runner arrows him in the face, turning around. Song of the Siren catches out 5. Where's the Tombstone? Exorcism doing a lot of damage, though. Keep that in mind. Illusion's being dropped, turn around, kill the Shadow Shaman as quickly as possible. Shadow Shaman drops Mass Serpent Wards, boxes, getting beaten down by Bristleback. Crystal Man forces himself to safety, dies to the Mass Serpent Wards. Desolated Weaver doing so much work over Clockwork. But while that's happening, sweet kissing, cutting through like a knife through hot butter with that double kill. And that possible with no Exorcism, the only one left. GG being called. Game number 1 goes to Team Amplified. Very convincing play coming out from them. The miracle level Naga Siren creating so much space for the rest of the team. And it's a best of 2 series. We're going to be taking a quick break. We'll be right back to game number 2. Stay tuned for more Dota.